happy 2026. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chichi Stitches. I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful waist bubu gown using Aso-Oke and an Ankara fabric with an Aso-Oke neckline, a side pocket and belt. The materials needed: beautiful Ankara prints, Aso-Oke, my pins, my tape, chalk, scissors and my measuring tools. The measurements needed. So I'm going to be giving you the dimension of this cotton on the table. You can see my fabric is folded into 4. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the formula you're going to use to know the fold. When I'm talking about the fold, I'm talking about the width of the fabric. My shoulder is 14 inches. Half of that measurement is 7. So I'm going to be adding the length of my sleeve, and the length of my sleeve is 10 inches. So 10 inches plus 7 inches, 17 inches. I'll say 17 times 4 because my fabric is on a fold. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to say 17 times 4, 68 inches. On this fold, I'm having 17 inches. So for the length from my shoulder to my hip is 27. That is where I want my gathers to begin. Just come down by half of an inch. So this is going to start as my shoulder point. First thing I'm going to do is to get half of my shoulder measurement. Half of my shoulder measurement is 7 inches, and this is the remaining part I'm going to be using for my sleeve. Because I'm using 10 inches, and I'm going to be adding an Aso-Oke to the length to make up the full length of the sleeve I'm desiring for. So I'm going to be using 3.5 inches for my neck width, and I'm going to be coming down by 1.5 inches for the back neckline, and I'm going to be connecting this with a curve. Then at the end of this part, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'm going to be connecting this 1 inch straight to the neck width. From this 1 inch shoulder slope, I'm going to be coming down by my sleeve opening, and that is 10 inches. From my shoulder, I'm going to be coming down to my waist, and my waist point is 17.5 inches. I'm going to mark that here. I'm going to also mark this here to get a straight line, and then I'll connect with my straight ruler. This is my waist. For my shoulder, I'm going to be marking my hip, and this is my hip, 27. Now from this my 10 inches that I came down from my shoulder slope, I'm going to be coming in by 3 inches, and I'm going to be making a curve. Then I'm going to be extending this curve all the way down to the hem of the fabric. So if you'd like a little curve at the waist part, that is like a little snatch at the waist part, you can just go in by 1.5 at the waist and connect it to the upper part and down into the end of the fabric and blend it properly. So at the waist, I'm going to be coming in by 1.5 inches for a snatched effect if you don't want it too big. Then you just connect it straight up and down like this. Blend to eliminate any sharp parts. So cutting the front neckline, still the width of 3.5 inches, I'm just going to be coming down by 8.5 inches. Since we would be opening that part for the front neckline to attach our Aso-Oke, I will be coming down by 8.5 inches from the shoulder. So after marking that, I'm going to be getting my Aso-Oke. So I'm just using one strand first. Since you're going to be attaching this to the front part, I'm going to be folding this into 2 so that we would know how many inches we're going to be cutting out at the front opening to attach this Aso-Oke. So okay, I folded my Aso-Oke into two, and I'm going to measure what I have here, and I have 3 inches. Since I have 3 inches, I would be marking 2.5 on my fabric. That is where my 8.5 stops. That is my neckline for the front. I'm going to just mark out 2.5 inches all the way down to end of my fabric. Why I'm marking 2.5 inches all the way down is because I'm going to be using half an inch to sew the Aso-Oke to the fabric, and when I'm done, I'm going to be having 3 inches in total. Extend this line vertically downwards. From this point, I'm going to be connecting it straight to my 3.5 neck width. After connecting that, I'm going to be cutting out my neckline. Then I'm going to be adding half an inch to the shoulder for stitching. Then I'll cut out these parts. Let's get cutting. First, I'm going to be starting with the back neckline. Then I'm going to be adding half an inch here. Now, for this part, I'm going to be cutting out the side following the curve. So let me explain before cutting it out. At this part, instead of cutting it straight, except you want to just have it straight down, instead of me cutting it all the way straight like a bubu, I'm going to be coming in by some inches, let's say half an inch, so that I will give it a snatched effect. So you can see I just came in by a little bit of inches inside instead of just cutting it totally straight down. Then I would open these parts. So I'm going to be taking out the back piece. Then I'm going to be cutting out the front neckline. So you have to make sure you notch your 8.5. So this is just me putting back my piece that I cut so that I can get my 8.5 and notch it before taking it out completely. Let me measure it well so that you can see it. You can see the point here. So I'm going to notch it. Make sure you notch it because this is going to help you know where your openings stop when you are attaching your Aso-Oke. So after that is done, I'm going to be joining the fabrics together. I'm going to be introducing my back pattern, then I'll introduce my front pattern, and I'm going to be placing it right face facing right face, just like this. I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to join the shoulder with 0.5 inches, and I'll be right back. I have stitched the shoulder with half an inch. The next thing we are going to be doing here is to fix the Aso-Oke on the sleeve and also on the center front. To do that, I'm going to be measuring what I have on my sleeve. You just open your sleeve like this and you measure out what you have on your sleeve. What I have on my sleeve, I have 20 inches. A tip for you: when you're to cut your Aso-Oke, you have 20 inches here for your sleeve measurement. Instead of cutting that 20 inches, I'm going to be adding like 2 more inches or 3 inches extension to the Aso-Oke. So instead of cutting directly on 20, you should be cutting out about 21 or 22 or 23 inches. It is better for the Aso-Oke to be in excess than for you to have a shortage of fabric. Then I'm going to measure round what I have at the opening. So what I have here, I have 62.5. So I wouldn't be cutting out just 62.5 on my Aso-Oke. I'm going to be extending that by 2 inches or 3 inches, just like I said earlier for the sleeve. Also make sure you notch the middle of your back neckline. Just place it just like you can see, shoulder aligning to shoulder, and you notch it at the middle here. So just like you can see here, I have cut my Aso-Oke using the length of, I got 62.5, but this is more than 62.5, so I've cut it with up to like 64. So I'm simply going to be measuring from one part of my 8.5 all the way through to the other part of my 8.5. So what I have here is 26 inches. So I'm going to be dividing this 26 inches into two. So I'm going to be placing it at the tip here. 26 divided by 2, that is 13. I'm going to be marking 13 inches here. So this is the part that is going to be open around your neckline. To do this, you're just going to stitch all the way down in the middle. So to make sure that you are stitching on the middle, what you're going to do is just to measure what you have here, then that is the width. Just as you can see, divide it into 2, then mark it down here into chalk. Then you do exactly like that. You measure out what you have here and you take it all the way down and you stitch it in the middle just like this. That is just one method. Then another method is to get the edge of your fabric, that is the beginning of your fabric, you fold it into 2 just like this, as you can see. Then you iron it all the way down. This is it after ironing it. Then I'm now going to open up my Aso-Oke back. I'm going to open it up all the way back. You can see the middle part. You can see this part. You can see that I give it an iron and it has given me a ghetto line just like this. So just like you can see the middle part, so I'm just going to take it to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch from this ghetto part. You can see this ghetto line. I'm going to stitch all the way down to the end of the fabric. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using for the sleeve part. As you can see, it's folded into 2 just like this, and it measures 22 inches. I have 20 inches on my sleeve. I cut out on 22. So like I said, it's better to have excess than to have under. So this is it. I'm going to go and give it a very good press. Then how would I be attaching this? To attach this, you just simply open your fabric like this. So right face facing right face. I'm going to stitch it just like this with half of an inch. Then I'm going to show you what it looks like. I have added the Aso-Oke. You can see what it looks like for both sides. So, and I have also stitched down the middle of my Aso-Oke. You can see I've stitched it down. Also make sure you notch the ends of this part. I hope you can see the parts I'm notching. You can see this is the part. Notch here and also notch the other part too. You can see I have notched it. So let's open our Aso-Oke neckline. So how do you basically open it? Just fold it like this. You can see it is straight, right? You fold this part like this and you further fold the other parts also. So you can see what it looks like. Just fold this part like this. Now this is what you have here. So you can also call it a built-up neckline. Endeavor to get an Aso-Oke that complements this fabric. That is an Aso-Oke that complements your Ankara fabric. This is what the built-up neckline looks like. Now to attach this, we're going to just open it like this. Make sure your fabric is on the right side, just like this. Now this notch part you have on the neckline, you can see this notch part here. I'm going to be attaching this notched part to the notched part of this back. You can see right face facing right face. This is how I'm going to be attaching it, like this. Now this is where your pin comes in handy. I'm going to be pinning it through like this. So I'm going to take these other parts, just like you can see, and I'm going to pin it all the way down. So I'm going to repeat this, what I did here, on the other side.
So I'm just going to be flipping it to the back like this so that it will be easy for me to pin all the way down.
So I'm going to continue pinning just like I did on the other part. After pinning, the next thing to do
is to stitch from this pinned point all the way down. I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch like this all the way with 0.5 round the neck all the way to the hem.
So after stitching, this is what it looks like, and this is what the sleeves looks like also. The excess at this edge, I'm just going to trim it out. Now you can see how beautiful the neckline is. When you're done, just kindly give it a good press. The next thing we're going to do is to stitch the sides. But before we stitch the side, we're going to be getting our pocket and our belt, because this style has a belt and also a pocket. Belt is to snatch the waist, and the pocket is just to feel funky. Let's cut that now. To draft my pocket, I'm just going to be doing a simple pocket. I have 10 inches for the depth of the pocket, and on this side, that is the opening of my pocket, I want it to be 7.5 inches. Then I'm just going to insert my palm like this, and I'm just going to trace out the shape of my hand, and after that I'm going to cut it open just like this, following the shape I drew. So I have 4 pieces here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to be using this for the pockets. For the belts, I have about 32 to 33 inches for the length, and for the width I have about 4 inches. This is dependent on what you want. So I have these 2 pieces here. I'm going to be folding this and sew it down. I'm going to fold this too, sew it, then turn it out, close one part of the fabric to get my belt. One part is going to be closed, one part is going to be open. This is going to be for the 2 sides of the belt. I have done my belt. Like I said, one part is going to be closed and the other part is going to be open. This is for my belt and this is for my pocket. In order to place my belt, I'm going to mark my shoulder to my waist, and from my shoulder to my waist I have it here. You can see it here. I'm going to be attaching my belt here. So if you don't have that line showing properly, just measure out your shoulder to your waist, then you just indicate that and get your shoulder to waist. For me, I've gotten that mine is showing, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to notch it. So I'm going to do that for the other side also. So after notching that, I'm going to pick my belt, this part that is open, I'm going to fix it inside, just like this. Face it like this. Make sure that all the length of the belts are inside, that is facing inward into the material. Then I'm going to use my pin and I'm going to pin this here. That is that for the belts. Now for the pockets, I'm going to be coming down from this waistline by 1 inch. After coming down by that 1 inch, I'm going to also notch that part. Then I'm going to be inserting my pocket. And to insert your pocket now, I'm going to be facing it right side facing right side. From that 1 inch, I'm just going to place my pocket down like this, pin it down. Stitch all the way down, then repeat that for the other side. Following the direction of the chalk, stitch down using the seam allowance you want. I used 1 inch seam allowance. Stitch the sides of the pocket following the chalk direction straight down like this. I have stitched down the sides, you can see. What you're going to do is at this side, you just notch all these parts a little. Notch them a little. You can see the belts and you can also see the pockets. So now let's cut the gathers. I have this long strip of fabric. I have about 3 yards. For the length, what I did is that my full length of gown minus the upper body's length,
And remember the upper body length, that is from the shoulder to the hip, we use 27. So, and the full length of the gown is 43. So 43 minus 27 will give us 16 inches. So 16 inches plus 1.5, 1 inch to hem the lower parts and half an inch to join the gathers parts to the upper body's parts. It all depends on how much fabric you have left. Run a gather stitch all round and you insert it on your upper body.
If this video was helpful to you, please do not forget to like, subscribe, turn on your post notification to be updated anytime we post a new video.